Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Van Buren Variety Show. Always glad to see what I call my regulars here that support me week after week. Thank you to each and every one of you. Also, want to thank the newcomers that either watch this show live or they watch it much later, days, weeks, months later after the fact. So I'm so glad that you're all here tonight. For those of you that do watch the show, I'd really like to make sure you'd like to hit that subscribe button. That really helps me out. And make sure you like and comment on the videos, whether it's the live chat or whether it's much later when you watch these videos. We'd love to see what you think, your comments, your opinions, support. So all that really helps. So I am Bob Van Buren, and the Van Buren Variety Show is here every Tuesday evening. That's at 7 p.m. Central Time, and that's 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So, again, if you can't catch the live show, we'd love it if you could be live and comment on the live chat. But if you can't, there's always YouTube. They keep this stuff out here for, infinity. So, you can watch it anytime you want to. Again, make sure you like and subscribe and comment. We'd love to hear from you. Hope you've all had a great week so far. My week so far has been pretty draggy. As you know, for those of you that are like me, I'm in Texas, so we have daylight savings time, which means early Sunday morning, we had to move our clocks forward 1 hour. And believe you me, I am feeling that 1 hour lost sleep. So I prefer fallback a lot better than I do with spring forward. So hope you're able to adjust with that if you have the spring forward too. But yeah, it's going to take me a while to adjust to that. That 1 hour sleep I miss it. So we'll get through it. Hey, before I bring my guest on, I do want to talk about, give you a public service announcement. Where I'm living, we had a terrible storm blow in about a week or two ago, and we lost power. And where I live, power was out for over 15 hours. And so lots of stuff in the refrigerator was not getting frozen. And flashlights sometimes, kind of unreliable if you don't change the batteries. So I want to show you something that helped me out during the power outage. This was given to me as a gift many years ago. You're like, what is that? Atomic beam. And it is a flashlight per se, but see, which way can I say this? You just lift it up. You can hang it up. You can carry it with you, probably to the bathroom. but this was a lifesaver for me when the power was out for so long because it was dark and all the street lights were out. So, like I said, this was given to me as a gift, and it's very easy to turn on. So, no, I'm not getting any money for advertising this, but it's called Atomic Beam, and just better to have this now and before the lights go out if you have a power outage. And it's good for camping too, I would think. So anyway, that one was, I wasn't completely left in the dark with that. So, there's my public service announcement. So take it as it leave it. Got a great guest on tonight. And I'm honored to say, it has a book that was just released today, March 14th, 2023, called Annie's Song. And now she is here tonight to promote it and tell us more about her writing career, her interest. And so without further ado, let me bring her on with us now.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry that I'm late.
Oh, no, you're not late at all. It's a perfect timing. This is Annie McDonnell, ladies and gentlemen, author of Annie's Song. So, Annie, welcome to the Van Buren Variety Show.
Thank you so much. You're very interesting. I really love that light. I took a picture of it. The atomic beam.
Atomic beam. Let's see if I can show that.
We're having a thunderstorm. Can you ship one here real quick?
Well, I don't know if I can ship it from Texas. I don't know where you're at, but I'm in Texas.
I'm in New York. That's true.
I don't think cool. FedEx and UPS can go that fast. I don't know.
That's true, but
we can genie it, maybe.
It's good for reading.
Oh, hey, there. I didn't think about that. Yes, you can read Annie's Song under the light. Well, let me talk to you. I was reading your bio, and for the ladies and gentlemen that don't know, Annie here has a book that was released just today. Is that a correct statement?
Just today, yes.
And it was this one right here.
Very good. Oh, yes, that's it.
So tell us about the book. I'll leave this cover up. It's called Annie's Song. So kind of give us some little details without giving without giving the subject, the whole details away. Kind of make it a mystery. What's it about?
Okay. It's about 250 pages.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's I love that joke all the time. Anyway, I always wanted to say that. I started writing poetry when I was a lot younger, like in my 20s. But I did write it when I was younger as well, but nothing more serious.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was an English lit, well, pre-law major, and English lit was one of the majors for that. But so I was always into writing, always into reading.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started doing book reviews.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I did book reviews. I'm still be doing them for about 20 years. I entered a contest with Elle magazine to be one of their reviewers, and I was chosen to be one.
Oh, good.
And the next thing you know, I'm writing reviews like crazy and having the time of my life, and it becomes pretty much everything I do is book reviews, and then I start interviewing authors. And
that's interesting. I've done plenty on myself.
I can tell, yeah, and it's a lot of fun meeting different authors because they all have different things to tell, and that's what's a lot of fun about it. And then I always said, I could write my own book, and then I took creative writing, and I cannot write a novel, but I don't want to say I can't, but I don't think I can. So this is it's essays.
Okay.
And it's poetry, and at the end of each different paragraph, whether it be an essay or a poem, there's QR codes for music to lead you to a song or two or an interview that tells you more about what I was writing about at that time. So it kind of brings you closer to it. So I call it my first chapter. I say I invite you to experience this book. Not just read it. Like, 'cause when you listen to the music, I heard someone recently say there was music before there were words. And I think that's where like the senses come in for me, I think. But if you're going to have a scented candle, something nice to drink, like really set yourself up when you're going to read. And I think you should do that with every book.
Absolutely.
That's why I did this.
Okay, your name is Annie McDonnell, and the name of the book is Annie's Song. So would it be safe to say this is kind of an autobiography?
It is. Okay, you're going to laugh because I made
up my... Don't laugh at anybody's creativity.
I totally made up my own thing. It's a cross-genre, magical realism memoir. Because the reason is it's a memoir. But there are stories that lift off into like a dream sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And I had most of the dream, but I'm filling spaces in, stuff like that. So some of it's not 100% my life, but it is my thought process on things. So it really is a memoir, but I couldn't say that to the public, like, it's a memoir.
More kind of maybe a little bit of a dramatization, maybe.
Yes, or exaggeration. Not exaggeration. I embellish it.
Nothing wrong with that.
To sound more beautiful, special. I love to write like I'm writing a song.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I read in your bio, you said, I'll read it verbatim. It said, this is her love song to trauma survivors, dog lovers, and love seekers in the end stages of stiff person syndrome, etc. So, are you like into is there stories about animals in there? Is there stuff about trauma, or is just getting over trauma, or kind of tell us kind of more?
Well, okay, so it's kind of like this. It does go in sequence, whether it's poem or essay, and it tells, certain things that happened to me in my childhood. Like my best friend was murdered when I was 15. by someone who was stalking us, and he tried to get me into the woods 4 days before that. So
Oh,
so then you have survivor's guilt. So like that story like weaves has always been something I walk with all the time. Uh and especially when you have to go every 2 years here in New York to keep them in prison. Like they you can't get over it. You can't even try to get over
no,
it.
that's too traumatic for sure. Yeah.
Correct, correct. And then there's some rape in there, miscarriage. There's a lot of traumas, but traumas that happen to everybody.
Sure.
You know, a lot of these things happen to everybody. It's just a lot of people don't speak of them. Like losing, having miscarriages. Uh, Women get forgotten that they were moms for a little bit, you know,
For
and they're
sure.
still moms, and they'll meet their mom in heaven or their kid in heaven. So I
Yeah.
talk about that. Um, you know, everything, but I also talk about I broke my neck in a car accident. There's that story. But I really believe that these traumas lead you to illness, or they could be what led me to illness. I don't say that in it, because Mayo Clinic thinks when I broke my neck, spinal fluid leaked into the bloodstream and got me sick. Because I have a ton of different diseases, but the I really do believe with all my heart that I felt my cells change when I heard that my best friend was killed. You
Well, let
know,
me ask you: when you wrote that, was that very hard for you to write? Were you? Did you? I guess I'm asking: did you relive that experience? I mean, was it hard for you to kind of write that down?
okay, well, this is really interesting, and thank you for asking that question. I love this. Um, I started taking Diane Zinna's Grief Writing Sunday every other weekend class, and it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can go. And so I started writing about things because she would give you prompts.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And it was before I knew it, I felt like I was getting better than all the years I've been going to counseling. And it's because I was really writing what I wanted to write, not what I was necessarily being asked by a counselor,
Sure.
you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I actually, one of the pieces that's going to go up tonight is called Jennifer's Heartbeat. And it's about her death, it's about her murder, straight up.
Wow.
But until this year, I never wrote about it until I had this music number that I had to do. Uh, Listen to Tchaikovsky six
Sure.
one
Mm-hmm.
time and then write something. And then I just started writing about it. And it was something I never wrote about, I never dealt with. And then so that got rid of a lot of survivor's guilt for me, because it gave me a story that's probably very untrue. Because again, a sequence, I don't know what I do know what happened to her personally. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know her train of thought.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to guess that she's thinking of me and loving me, and
That's good.
just
That's a good thought.
yeah, yeah. So each story does have a terrible thing. Not each one, but if there's a trauma in it, I tend to end it with something beautiful.
Sure. Well,
You
that'd be
know?
a good question. So, like, say somebody's watching this program right
Okay.
now, and maybe they've had something traumatic happen to them, and they can't get over it. You know, whether they had a murder in their family or their friend, or maybe they were sexually violated, just something very traumatic. Would you say, for you personally, was writing a good outlet for you to get over it? I mean, you don't truly get over it, but did it make it easier at all
Well,
by writing?
the first thing I learned is you can't get over it. You don't get
Mm-hmm.
over it. You learn to get through it.
Through it, yes. Uh-huh.
Through it, right? And you have to accept that that's the way it is, and then that helps. But the writing helped so much more than talking. Because talking, you walk away, you kind of forget what you said,
Mm-hmm.
you forget, okay, what was their advice. But when you're writing for yourself, and I couldn't believe the difference in what I was writing, things I was writing, and it was like love letter to my children. It's I do think that writing is a beautiful way. And I ended up going out and getting a book called 50,000
Oh,
Prompts,
wow.
just in case I wanted to do it between the week, because you only get 15 minutes to write it.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, of course they edit it once it's published, but while you're writing it, it's just 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very quick. Everything comes out, it pouring out of you. Uh, and I do honestly believe that writing is a wonderful way to go. Journaling is a great way to
Yeah.
go.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I started off with the journaling, but the prompts gave me a different way to look at things. Like I picked the number and it was Tchaikovsky 6. I'm like, oh God, I really would have preferred Gin Blossoms, but now I have to write to Tchaikovsky 6. But it ended up being what I needed to write to at the
That's
time.
awesome.
And I just didn't know. So yeah, I do think that that's a great place to start. And
Okay.
to be honest, DianeZinna.com, you can find out where that class is. And you can go with the camera shut, whatever you want,
Uh-huh.
and just see if you like it. See if they like it. It might be something that helps them. So I hope it does.
Hope so. So that'd be good. That'd be a good outlet, I'm sure. Well, I'm
Yes.
gonna go back to your book now. I'm gonna bring that up again, and I'm just kind of curious. Now, I love the artwork here, but now I have to ask: that little dog, is that your dog, or is that just a prop dog, or what? What are
Oh,
you, is there a story about a dog in there?
yes, yes. That's my dog Simon.
Simon.
Well,
All
mine and
right.
my husband's dog Simon.
All
Uh,
right.
he was my first dog that I had uh, until he died. He passed away.
Oh.
Very unexpectedly within like 30 days.
Oh no.
And but I believe he loved this beach where my in-laws live. So I have him standing. He's they did this themselves. He's in the ocean.
I
He's
see that. It's in
standing.
water.
Yeah, you don't notice he's standing in the water until you really look. And when I first got him, he was very untrained. He was the next to be put down, and that's why he was adopted by his previous owner. But they couldn't train him, so I ended up keeping him. And that backpack he has on,
Yes.
like, gave him a job. So he then became very serious about his job is in the house
Okay.
and what he's
That's cool.
supposed to do. So that's perfect that picture was chosen.
I like it.
And thank you very much. And the dandelion, that it's dandelions, dreams, and dogs. I have been forever wishing on dandelions since I can remember. I'd run in a field and be like thinking of all these different wishes. Um, I also would pick when they were yellow, still alive, and like give them
Yes.
to your mother type of thing. And then the dreams, of course, because I have a lot of dream sequences. And then dogs. This book has 4 different charities that its profits are going to.
Can you
What?
name the charities? I'd like to hear
Sure.
the.
One is One Love Dog Rescue, which is the one I volunteer for.
Okay.
They're amazing. I, my dog's from Texas.
Oh, yay! Yeah,
Yeah, from
Texas
her.
dog.
How about that? Yeah. Her name is Daphne. Daphne Moon. And then, so what happened was after I lost Simon, I didn't know what to do with my life. And then it dawned on me I needed to spend time spent sharing his love that he gave me.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So I started volunteering at the dog rescue after we got Daphne, and which was One Love. So they gave me like a new lease on life. We ended
Okay.
up with 300 pounds of dog to fill the love from that guy.
Wow.
Yeah, so I called it Operation Simon, like what I was doing, because I'd go to the airports and pick up the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. Uh,
Wow.
and now I can't do that, so now I do other things for them. But and that's where the dogs come in. I triple dog dare you because we have 3 dogs.
Uh-huh.
Like we have a Pyrenees, and I'm sure you have a lot of them in Texas because that's where
Yes.
she came from. Yeah, and they said she needs another dog so that she has a pet. Okay, so we got another dog, and then we ended up getting yet another dog. So now she has a pack of two.
Wow.
But she needed that was what she needed was
Sure,
other dogs.
absolutely.
So that's what we gave her. So
I want to ask you now. This book, I want to kind of reiterate to the audience that's just logged in. Annie McDonnell has written this book called Annie's Song. You can see the cover right there, and I have the honor of interviewing Annie on the very day that this book is being released. Today is March 14th, 2023, and that book was released today. And so, Annie, I'm so honored that you're here for their first interview with this book. So, thank you.
no, thank you. But I did neglect to tell you three other charities.
Okay, go ahead. Please do the
All
charities
right,
for
yeah,
sure.
the Pat Conroy Literary Center in Beaufort, South Carolina,
Okay.
because they let me do seminars on book reviews, and I love Pat Conroy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was a fabulous author. Still is. I have all his books. They're the kinds you read over and over. And also the writers, or the Muse Writers Center in Norfolk, Virginia,
Okay.
because they gave me scholarships to go to class,
Oh wow.
which was wonderful of them. And then the Stiff Person Syndrome Research Foundation.
Tell me
And
about that. The
they're
stiff person syndrome. What is stiff person syndrome for those of us that don't know?
okay. Well, Celine Dion just announced that she had it recently.
Okay.
That's why she canceled all of her concerts next
Oh,
year.
I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
So, what it is your tendons, muscle, bone, everything's organs actually start to harden,
Ooh.
and
Wow.
like they used to call it Tin Man disease. Then it was stiff man syndrome. Now it's
Mm,
stiff person syndrome. It keeps changing, but
sure.
different part. Like now, it's very hard for me to get up because I'm so stiff.
Mm.
It's the weirdest thing, and it's very painful because you have spasms that twist, and it could break your bones.
Oh no.
It could hurt an organ. But I have had a lot of surgeries in my belly, and it makes you sometimes I feel pop up pop pop. Scar tissue will just pop in your belly. So it just has a whole lot of weird things that happen.
Is
And,
there a
and
cure
then,
for that, or any way to make it things easier for the person that's suffering?
no, there's no cure.
Oh.
And I'm in the end stages, and and the end stages is when it goes into this part of your body, because it's your throat, and you get spasms in here
Hmm.
and at your vocal cords and edema, which I have when it closes up. But you go to therapy and they teach you to breathe really slow when it starts to happen,
Oh, that's
which
good.
is,
There is something there.
yeah,
Okay.
but it's so much easier said than done, because the first thing you start saying is, okay, you start thinking of all the people you want to think of, and it's very scary. And it can affect your heart, like it can harden parts of your heart.
Wow, I don't guess I've ever heard of it, man. I'm
Well,
sorry you're going through that, Annie. Well, I hope they
thank you.
find a cure for it sometime.
Well, that would be great. I heard they won't in my lifetime, but there's one in a
Hmm.
million, one person in a million get it. Um,
1 in a million. Oh wow.
yes, but I will say this: my body's being donated to science, and it's to study the cells. So I hope that helps somehow as well. So you never know.
If you don't mind me asking, have you lived with this your whole life, or were you a certain age when you started noticing symptoms? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh no, it's okay. I started off with endometriosis when I was 18,
18.
but then it was right after the car accident. So
After the car accident.
yeah,
Okay.
so I think everything's connected. And then it was like a waterfall of autoimmune diseases, then autoinflammatory, which is like a new thing, which they didn't even know existed. And then they thought, oh God, does she have ALS? Because I couldn't talk, I was
Mm-hmm.
drooling. So you go through phases of different things
Sure.
happening. And so they thought, oh God, does she have ALS? Is it myasthenia gravis? What the, MS? and then because the last thing they think is stiff person syndrome, and then they found out it was stiff person syndrome, and I mean the list goes on. It's ridiculous. Like they, I was born with a gene that most likely could
Mm-hmm.
cause this to happen in your body because you get it's the NLRP12 gene,
Mm-hmm.
and you get a disease in every system of your body, and that's just how your life goes, and you have to say okay.
Well, can I ask you this? When did you notice? I guess you could say.
Oh, I'm sorry. You did ask me when did I notice the stiff person syndrome?
Well, yeah, that was my first question.
Right,
Yes,
right.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I'm sorry I didn't answer
Okay.
that. Around 2013, I started noticing. Uh, I knew I had RA because I started having trouble. I volunteered at the ambulance, and I
Oh,
couldn't
mom.
lift the stretcher, like because I couldn't do the whole movement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then it was like I used to take yoga, and I couldn't get out of the position. I could get into
Oh
it,
no.
but I couldn't get out of it. So
Oh.
that's when we were like, all right, what's going on? And so we noticed the muscles in my stomach were very spastic
Mm-hmm.
and getting harder, and it just was strange. And then that physical therapist said, I think you have stiff person syndrome. So then they did the test, and I had it. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And all of us that have it, we go through waves of like the same the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like one doctor told me back in January of 2020, he wanted me to go into hospice
Oh
because
wow.
my heart wasn't working right. But it was
Mm-hmm.
like but it was a period of time it wasn't working right. So, but when you're in the end stages, it could be 5 years, it could be a year. So it's kind of scary, and it gets to the point where everything it's the progression of the disease, and you just have to say okay, and there's not much, and write a book about it to let people know what it feels like to be told
Sure.
such things.
I did not know Celine Dion had that. I guess I missed
Yes,
that.
she announced it. I'm not good with time anymore
Mm-hmm.
because it affects cognitive skills as well, but about 2 months ago is what I would guess. 2 or 3 months ago, she announced that she had it, and it's so sad because she's crying, and it's in her vocal cords as well. So
Oh.
then she's at the end stages too, because it's all goes by limb, torso, limb, vocal cords, and then you're in trouble.
So
So
that's what your charity is trying to find a cure for this. Part of the
correct.
proceeds.
Correct. So now that like I'm all over their pages right now. They interviewed me, and they're trying, telling people about the book because the proceeds will go to help them. But they're a wonderful organization because they also educate about stiff person syndrome, and that's the most important thing. When I had endometriosis, they didn't know for 5 years what was wrong, and I was being called a
Wow.
hypochondriac. Because
Oh no.
nobody knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But they found out too late what it was. And my doctor here said, Dr. Pulse, he said, Annie, when you have rare diseases, and you're vocal, like I don't mind being center of attention somewhere.
You're
Uh,
in good company then.
yeah, I know. I think that's why we like these,
Yeah.
right? But he said it's almost like it's your responsibility to explain to the world what it is, so that when
I never heard of it. See.
yeah, and say someone gets diagnosed with it, you want them to look it up, but you want them to be able to see another human being with it, and you want to see what they have to say about having it, and that's a lot more intimate. It's a lot more educational, I feel. So that's why I started on Facebook and all over the place, just started talking about what was going on.
That's good.
So
Is it? Would you say it's hereditary, or is it just unlucky part of the draw? Would you say?
it's an unlucky part of the draw.
Um.
It's not. I mean, RA and like like lupus. People in my family have lupus, so we have autoimmune stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
neurological autoimmune diseases tend to not be uh, hereditary.
I
They're
see.
they're different. I could tell you about the NLRP12 gene story real quick. It's funny.
Please, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
not that it's funny, but
Yeah, but I'm learning like everybody else is that's watching
yeah,
this.
it's very interesting. My doctor again sent me to this doctor to get checked for one thing, and I did have it, and I had the NLRP12 gene.
Oh wow.
And so I have the Yao syndrome and the NLR, but people think you're crazy when you start listing 35 things. So I try not to do that. The
Open
N-
mind.
but that gene was started from the famines all those years ago in the European countries. Women would be pregnant and couldn't feed their baby. So
Oh wow.
the DNA would change in their body so that they could feed their unborn child. So
Mm.
it was like, to me, it was DNA that was necessary. So like, I'm all good. And then I was like, maybe mine's from Ireland because I'm Irish. So I don't know. It is fun, not fun. It actually, I will say, for me, it's fun to find out how things started,
Mm-hmm.
because when you know more about yourself, the easier it is to get through your day, or
Right. Sure.
understand something, or have a friend that you can talk to. And all of that's important. And the other reason is for these telling these stories is to my hope is for people to gain um empathy, compassion for people that are sick with things that you never heard of.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm sorry, if I walked in somewhere with a cast on my leg, everyone would be like, "Oh my God, what happened?" I walk in with a walker, and it's like, what's wrong with her? She really looks fine,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and that does happen. It's
It
called
does,
it
unfortunately.
does
Yes.
happen. Yes. So, and that's why I found that my publisher spoke to me with uh, Echo Garrett with Lucid House Publishing, and she said, "Annie, I really want to share your stories." Because I would call her up and say, "Let me read you today's story. Let me read you today's story." And then she said, "I really want to publish it because I think the world needs to know."
Absolutely.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
how that started.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm glad that you're writing about this because again, stiff person syndrome. I mean, I until I read your bio, I had never heard of it. I mean, I don't know if any of my audience has. I'd like to hear feedback from my audience, whether they're watching live or they're going to watch just days, weeks, months from then. Have you ever heard of it? Just, I mean, because like I said, it's not one of those that you don't hear about a lot. Why do you think that
That's
is?
Well, because only one in a million have it.
Oh, that's
There's
true.
like this whole story of zebra and horses.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly horses go into the hospital. So, doc, nobody's listening for the hooves of the zebras, the people
Sure.
that are different, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
doing the tests for all regular people, but we're gonna look fine on those tests because it's not those tests that are messing us up. So there's a whole thing about that. But okay, so I'll admit I was in the hospital this weekend. I was
Oh.
terrified. Had my book though. I was all ready to do everything from the hospital bed, and
Mm-hmm.
but the doctor told me that the nurse went up to her and said, "Look, this woman is saying that she has something called stiff person syndrome. I mean, really." And she said, "No, there really is a disease called stiff person syndrome.
Even
It
she
does."
didn't know.
The
Wow.
nurse didn't know, and she didn't
Wow.
believe it either because what it sounds so. Come on, this lady's telling me she's stiff, right?
Yeah.
Like,
What are you talking about? Yeah.
yeah, what is that? We're all stiff. She's 53. Of course she's stiff,
Yeah.
like, so,
Hey, I'm
but yeah.
54. I'm not there.
Oh, okay, good. So we're like the same.
We're there.
We're the same. Yeah, we are there. Yeah, definitely there. And a lot of people say that, and I have stiffness in the joints from the RA. So it's funny how you could tell when a pain or something happens, what it's from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Because you really do start to read your body very well. And my other message in this is trust your instincts. If you don't think it's the answer, keep looking. Like, some of my friends or family got tired of me being sick. tired of me looking to see what's wrong, but I just I want to get better.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, I have this, and I'm just going to sit around and wait till it takes me.
Poor me,
Right, right, right. I want to keep looking for a different answer. So
It's out there. We just got to find it. Or they got to find
yes,
it.
it has to be out there.
And I'm a firm believer in miracles, Annie. And there, you know what? I mean, it is possible that they could find a cure tomorrow.
You're
So
absolutely right. And I'll think
I
of you.
believe in prayer.
They
So
do. I'll think of you. I I had the dog rescue that I volunteered for. When I first got very very sick and having trouble walking, they sent someone to do the lawn. And the
okay,
one kid, I was telling him, oh, when you do stuff like this as a kid, you're going to be a great adult. You're going places. You're
absolutely.
so smart. I had no idea that he was Spanish and I think he's from Ecuador. And he did not know a word of what I was saying to him. He just knew I was smiling
The
and
tone of your voice. Yeah.
yeah, like he just knew that. And he went back to his church youth group leader and said that he wanted to heal me because I was so nice. So
Wow.
they came here to sing to me, pray over me. And all I know was I was writing in my journal all the time. If anyone wants to heal me, and of course my husband, but like I have to get better for this kid. I mean, he's a kid to me. He's
Sure.
not really a kid.
When
But
when you're our age, everybody younger than us
yeah,
is a kid.
I was like, I wonder what age I was where I started calling everyone kid.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Andy, I admire your positive attitude. And, there's so many people right now, probably maybe watching this right now, either live or watching this days, weeks, months, years from now. And maybe, if you can maybe give us some advice, I mean, maybe that might be me eventually. I might have a built-in disease that, it's very, very easy. At least I'm talking about myself now, to
Right.
waller into self-pity. And maybe there's no hope, there's no chance, it's over for me. So if that happens to me later in life and I get that mindset after somebody watching that maybe has something going on with them that's really not looking good, what would be your advice
Well, my
to handle that?
advice would be let yourself hurt if you're hurting. Like sadness.
Okay.
Let yourself feel it because I I often I'm trying not to do it, but then it comes out differently.
It's hard. I know,
Like
but it's very difficult.
it gets worse if you
Yeah.
don't acknowledge it. So acknowledgement is the most important. And also, I don't like these Facebook support groups.
I'm not
They're
familiar with those. I mean, I know they're out there, but I'm
yeah,
not a
like
part of them.
if you have diseases, you can go to the stiff person uh, support group online. But
Mhm.
like everyone's very down and
Depressed. Yeah.
depressed, and they
Mm.
start off their day. Oh, like my friend Vicky and I that have stiff person syndrome. We sing a song to each other every morning
Oh, that's neat.
on like recorder and send it in to each other to start our day off with a good note, a, a good song.
Mm-hmm.
But it's stay away from places like where people are full of like where everyone's full of self-pity. I like to be around the authors that
Yeah.
are like they got it going on and
Mm-hmm.
everything's great, and you know so I can believe the same thing and not giving up. Like I know a lot of people that literally like just don't do anything all day that
Just
have
fall apart. Yeah. Mhm.
yes, and you really the friends of mine that do well are the ones that are involved in doing other things, if even if it's coloring, cross stitch, doing things, and also physical therapy.
That's very important. Yes.
Or anything, physical therapy and stretching. It makes a huge difference on the day I do it and the day I don't do it. I can always tell.
It sounds just try to stay a positive. Try to remain positive and positive outlook. Should I say?
Yes, like I signed up. I like to get letters. I don't have friends that want to write letters.
Mm-hmm.
So you can sign up for groups where people write letters from all over the world. Like they'll send postcards.
Oh, wow. That's
And then
true.
you can send postcards. So you can get mail that's chipper and, instead of a medical bill.
Like a pen pal almost.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's always fun to do. And of course, the book clubs and all of that, and watching shows like yours.
Yeah, I
And
try to stay upbeat.
yeah, you can tell. That's really wonderful.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of it. They say is no matter what you're going through, whether it's health or job or just family problems, just you got to try to stay positive. You got to, and I'm talking about myself. That is very very hard. Oh, I hear a dog.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Daphne, stop. They usually
Well,
don't bark when I do this.
I have a cat, and she's been locked out of my office because you can ask my audience. She has made some unscheduled appearances on the show. She likes to jump on the back of the chair. So if you see some of my show, there'll be a black and white cat that'll jump up.
Oh,
So
that's
now
so
she's
cute.
safely out.
That's so cute. I let them stay up, and I tell them mommy's going on TV. And mostly they don't say anything. But the Pyrenees, she knows you're from Texas. So
Oh, that's it.
I think she wanted to say hello.
Well, hello. Well, I want to bring up your book again, and I want to just talk about that again. Now, we may have been,
Oh.
it's in our conversation. There might be someone, Andy, that's been looking at this like, you know what? That sounds like a good book that I'd like to read. It's positive and, full of inspiration. So it was released today. So
Yes.
can you give us some, where can people purchase this book if they're interested?
Okay, let me say it's positive, it's full of inspiration, but it does have the tactile event that happens that causes
Sure,
you
I understand that.
So it's not like sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, it's
I just-
true
I
to
just
true
wanna-
to life. Yeah, I'll say.
Right, good life. I just want to make sure everyone knows. But the basis is to learn joy, empathy, compassion, and to be happy.
Absolutely.
So it can be bought everywhere in the world. Bookdepository.com has
Okay.
it, and it ships free all over the world.
Oh,
That's
anywhere.
interesting to me. But I think it's fun for people to learn because I don't think everybody knows about that site. But Amazon has it. You can get the
Amazon.
Kindle for $3.99.
Oh, Kindle even.
The book
Okay.
is $18.99.
Okay.
Anyone that buys it this week on my page, which they can go to Annie McDonnell or the Right Review, WRITE. If they buy this book, the print, I'll send them a book plate, and that's my autograph on it, and I'll write whatever they want me to write on it, and I'll send them a book plate. They
And-
just have to tell me I got the print copy. Again, at Annie McDonnell is the page.
Is that
Well-
.com
No, just Annie McDonnell on Facebook.
on Facebook?
Yeah,
Okay.
write to me right on Messenger. It's very simple.
I'm gonna put. I'm typing this so I can display it for us.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. So let me do this again. We can kind of go through it again. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not the most technical person, so excuse me. Okay, Annie McDonnell on Facebook. Okay, once they see you on Facebook, then what should they do then when they find you on Facebook?
Go to Messenger.
Messenger.
Or right on the page. I mean, I'm one that I'll talk to everybody all over the place. So, just let me know that they bought. I say in Messenger, so it's private to give me their address, so that I can mail them that. And I think those are fun to get,
Mhm.
because then you have the autograph, even though you couldn't get to see the author in person. And the other thing is, I also, I've been asked to do some book clubs.
Oh, really?
Zoom, so I can do that with people. Yeah, someone here on Long Island actually wants me to do a Zoom call. Okay, great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the book club meets on Zoom, and I was like, my book's going to be the third book. This is crazy.
Very
It's
good.
going to be the book for their fourth month for this year. It's very exciting. I didn't even think of it to be a book club book, but things happen. So
Opportunities just come to us in the oddest of ways, the most unexpected ways sometimes.
I know it's very very like getting on your show. I was like, I've never been on a variety show, and I don't know what happened with me, it's like I drew a blank, and then Mickey was like, "Yeah, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm so sorry," and I really apologize.
Well, no, you weren't
Really,
late at all. I was in the middle of a monologue when you logged in, so you weren't really late per se. I
yeah,
was.
yeah, I know, but I still feel terrible. So I just want you to know, well, you deserve more respect than that. So thank you. I mean, I really appreciate being on a Van Buren variety show. That was really exciting. Can I ask what other type of guests you have on?
Absolutely. I've had other authors on, as you know, as you've seen.
As
I've
if,
had musicians on the show, and I've actually got some other musicians that's going to perform some shows for us.
wow.
I've had people on to talk about cryptids, Bigfoot, and we have a lot of our audience have subscribed to a channel. In fact, we're being simulcast on a channel, Texas Front Porch, that deals with that.
Oh,
I've
wow.
had people on that's talked about the paranormal and aliens, and I've
Oh,
had
that's
people.
so cool. That's interesting.
I had
I'm
a.
definitely gonna have to subscribe.
Oh, please like and subscribe, yeah.
Yes.
And then I had a lady actually many episodes ago. She herself was sexually assaulted, and she's now a coach. I won't say a coach, a counselor for women that goes through the same thing.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
mean, it's truly amazing. And it takes a special person. I mean, and I hate to say that because I wrote about similar things, but
hmm
it takes a special person to be willing to crack themselves open like that. But
it was a
sometimes,
great interview.
what's part of me?
I said it was a great interview with her.
I bet, and that's what I mean. But like, she's wanting to help people.
Yes.
Like she took her tragedy and she's making it into a positive, doing a positive thing. And I mean that there's nothing better than that. Than like and writing books, all
hmm
those kinds of things. It's really important. Domestic violence that, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
there's so many things in this world, and I believe also a lot of trauma feels the same feeling, the same pain, the same type of anguish. And, so it's just, if we allow one another to talk about things more, we
Yeah,
hear about
absolutely.
that all the time. It would be such a better world.
And plus, a lot of us, people have had other things happen to them. Like, for example, people have had a loss of a job, or a bitter divorce,
Yeah,
and it just, to get that anger out, you have to talk about it. Just get it out, whether it's a friend, a counselor. Yeah, I say life's too short to be bitter all the time.
you're right. You're right. I like all of your quotes.
But then
You
I've
need to
also,
list them.
I should, yeah, maybe a list of Van Buren quotes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Van Burenisms.
Van Burenism. Boy, I got to
Yes,
tell Tex about that one.
I
I give
like
him a
that.
hard time. I've had other, like so you mentioned, other guests I've had on. I've had a guy that talked about his military career. I had two guys talk about their military careers. I've had them on.
Okay, well, like in my book, my ex-boyfriend was sucked into the intake uh during the Persian Gulf War of, like, I think it was a C6. He
Yeah,
survived though, thank you Jesus.
he
But
survived it. Wow.
yeah, and I swear to me, I say my guardian angel went and saved him. Um, you have to tell yourself things
Mm-hmm.
to get through things. Like my teacher said, Annie, you walk through this world with one foot in heaven and one foot on earth because you think you're so close to Jennifer.
I like that.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
it helps because then you feel like you always have this angel with you. But he was sucked into the intake of the plane, and last year or 2 years ago was his 30th year alive day. So we had an interview with him. That's in the book. The interviews
Oh, I'd love
in
to
the
read
book.
that.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, you would. Yeah, you'd be interested in that. Yeah, it's very very good. He was on the USS Roosevelt, and that's a huge. I mean, if
It's
you look,
big.
yeah, I mean, if you look up, man got sucked into the intake of a plane, he'll come up
That's
first.
the guy. All
That's the
right.
guy. That's the guy. But yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you now. You've written this book and you've got it released. Let me ask you: do you have any plans? Are you thinking about any other stories? And kind of canalize us a little bit.
Already started new stories because Again, these are essays, poems, so there's more to tell. I mean, I'm 53. Different things happen to me in my life that I'd love to share. Uh, because it's positive things as well. Like
Absolutely.
I love writing about my stepmother. She's gone now, but I writing about her makes her feel like she's right here.
Absolutely.
And I love writing about her. So there's a lot of things, a lot of stories I'd like to tell, like my Irish dancing days. A lot of things a cross country runner, like things I didn't write about in here.
Okay.
So yeah, I am looking, and we're thinking like calling it Annie's Love Notes or something like that. I don't know what we're gonna do, but or calling it blah 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 blah, because everybody says that.
Annie's second song, something like
Oh,
that.
that's a good Annie's second song. I like that. That's a good one.
That,
Or encore.
on a kind of a slightly different note, you mentioned your Irish song.
Yeah.
I like an Irish band. I don't know if you like them. Have you ever heard of Celtic Thunder?
Oh, yes.
I love their music. That's just me.
Oh, yes. I love them. Yes, I love them too. Dropkick Murphys.
Yes. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I did a thing with the book clubs for St. Patrick's Day. I had a quote unquote St. Patrick's Day parade. So everyone went around each hour to a different group, and there were Irish authors.
Oh,
but at
wow.
4:00, she was my friend. Her Irish bands from Michigan played for the hour for all those groups at the same time.
Man,
it felt like we are the world.
Yes.
It felt really, really good. And the Irish Echo advertised for us on the same page as the Dropkick Murphy page, and we were like, "Oh my God, we're on the same page as the
perfect."
Dropkick Murphy.
That's a perfect match right there.
Yes.
Speaking of that, it's just kind of interesting you brought up the Irish. I want to remind, I don't have to remind you, my audience and those of you that are watching this, remember, this coming Friday, March 17th, 2023, is St. Patrick's Day. So you better wear your green unless you want this to happen. Ow! I always say you want to get pinched, but now I've had a few smart aleck from buddies say, I want to get pinched. I'm like, get out of here.
I bet that's funny.
So everybody wear your green this on March 17th, unless you want to get pinched.
Unless you want to get pinched. My publisher chose this week to publish for me, so that it would be published the week of St. Patrick's Day.
Perfect timing.
Because I'm so proud of being Irish. So
that's something to be proud of.
I'm also having a contest. You see the picture?
Yes. Oh, that's
I'm
perfect.
having a contest where people are going to can send in pictures with them doing this, and there's going to be a prize at the end of the month. So you have the whole month.
Stay tuned.
Work on iPad and iPhone and everything. And again, they could do it at Annie McDonnell's page. But this is a lot of fun. I have 2 pictures of me with this, and one with my hair up and one with my hair down. It's a lot of fun to do. And that's why I was like, please put part of a face on the cover.
Yeah, you have to. You got to make it personal, Well, Annie, it's great talking to you, and I want to remind my audience, go to Facebook, look for Annie McDowell there. You can actually send her a message on Messenger. Say that really fast. And reminder that she does have a very interesting book out called Annie's Song. It's Dandelions, Dreams, and Dogs, right? Or Days?
Yes, Dandelions, Dreams, and Dogs.
Dogs, yeah. So the title, the artwork itself, it's
a gorgeous cover. I mean, you should see. They have dandelions going throughout the book.
Oh, I see that now. Yeah.
and they didn't end like a chapter right at the page. They kept it going, so it really feels like it feels like you're reading somebody's journal.
It's a journey.
Yeah,
too,
it's
so.
a journey. Oh, I like that. See, another Van Burenism.
You know what? I'm gonna drive my buddies crazy with this, and people that are watching this show know who I'm talking about. So yeah ladies and gentlemen, those of you that watched him on the other channel, you know who I'm talking about. tell him you want to hear Van Burenisms. Let's see what he says. We won't blame you, Annie. We won't get you into that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I don't mind being blamed because they deserve to be Van Burenisms. So.
Annie, it was a great talking to you tonight. I wish you the best of luck on your book. It sounds very, very interesting, and wish you all the best too. Thank you for educating us. And again, you're in our prayers. And again, I'm a firm believer that miracles happen.
And I do too. So thank you. And I believe prayers are answered. So thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to meet you, Bob. And I hope you have a wonderful night. And thanks everybody that listened.
Thank you, Annie. Good night.
Right. Good night.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for tonight's episode of the Van Buren Variety Show. I hope you enjoyed tonight's guest. Let me bring that information back on there. It's Annie McDowell on Facebook. Annie McDowell on Facebook. Look for her on Facebook. Send her a message on Messenger and tell her that you would like the book, and she will autograph it for you. Nothing like a good autograph book. And, she really educated me tonight. I've never heard of stiff person syndrome. And it's very a shame that there's no cure for that. I know we have a lot of diseases that have no cure, but I wish her all the best. And anybody else that's suffering from that or any disease, you're in my prayers, thoughts and prayers. And again, I'm a firm believer miracles happen. So keep that positive attitude. Keep your chin up, as I need to when bad things happen to me. So that's all going to be tonight. Appreciate everybody logging in. If you haven't already, there's that subscribe button. You got to feed my ego a little bit, can't you? Tell your family and friends, advertise it, share this video, like this video. But hit that subscribe button. That really, really helps me out. So that's all for me tonight. This is Bob Van Buren for the Van Buren Variety Show. I will see y'all next week. Good night, everybody.